Hello everyone and welcome to Tech Talks with SDM Foundation. My name is Aaron and today we're going to take a look at Windows 10 updates. Okay, so let's get started. First off, we're going to use the search bar down below next to the start menu, and I'm going to type in Windows Update. We're going to select check for updates. Okay, so this is the Windows Update screen. We can see here that updates available last checked was today at 8:59 p.m., which was about 15 minutes ago. There's an update for Microsoft Office validation tool. This update is coming up because I'm actually running Office 2007, I believe. Let's see. And the way we can check that is I'm going to open up Microsoft Word. So I'm going to go down to the search bar and type in Word and select Word. It looks like it is 2007 because it says that right in the search result. But there should be another way to check it, and that's why I'm opening up Word. So if you have a newer version, it usually doesn't tell you what version it is until you open it. Yeah, this particular version. So as soon as I search for any one of the Microsoft Office apps, it's telling me that it's 2007. On the newer versions, if you select File, it jumps to what they call the Backstage view. So that's like within a blank document. If you select File and then Accounts, it will show you your subscription and whatever version you're running. So if it's Office 2014 or 2019, you'll see it there. Okay, so back to the Windows Update screen. And again, we were just looking at that Microsoft Office to see what version it was, because this is the validation tool for the 2007 edition of Microsoft Office. But I'm not going to install that. So let's look at optional updates. Choose the updates you want and then select to download and install. Okay. So it looks like there's some driver updates here. Some for the keyboard and a few other items. I mean, you can go ahead and install these if you really wanted to, but generally, if something isn't broken, I wouldn't try to fix it. So I'm not going to touch those updates. They are optional, meaning that they're not security based, I believe, and that's what makes them optional. So sometimes it's just a different version of like firmware, in case some users have problems, because Windows does run on different types of hardware. So let's take a quick look at some of these other updates here. Looks like there is a feature update to Windows 10 available. The last one was 2020, I believe, and this is 20H2. And here it says the next version of Windows is here with new features and security improvements. Download and install, and the update will begin. Generally, I wait a couple of weeks before I install something like this when it first comes up, just to make sure that it doesn't break computers. Usually if there's a problem with an update like this, it will make the news one way or another. And Microsoft has also been known to pull back updates that could potentially cause problems for your device. So that's why I would sometimes wait before I run a new feature update. Okay, and we can also see what's in this update. So it looks like you can choose different color modes. Some updates for the Edge browser. Yeah. So it doesn't look like anything too major. I personally am going to wait a little while before I install that feature update. Let's take a look at some other things here. So here you can pause your Windows updates for up to 7 days. I would recommend to not do this. I just don't see any real reason in wanting to pause them. Basically, you can just choose to not install them. We can also check our active hours. So active hours is what the system thinks you're going to be, it kind of guesses the time on when you'll actually be sitting in front of the computer and using it. So it thinks I'm going to be on the computer here between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. So it won't automatically restart for an update during those hours. So if I want my computer to update automatically, this is probably not a good setting because the computer is probably going to be off when it wants to update, and so that means it will never update. So what I do is I change this end time to just like 10 a.m. Because I'm definitely going to be on the computer during these times, and probably later than that as well. And the reason why I want that to be is because if there is an update available, it will notify me, and it'll allow Windows to actually update. So let's back up out of that. Yeah, I think it tried to install that validation tool and failed. I'm not going to retry. But what I am going to do is scroll down here. I'm going to look at the update history. So let's take a look and see if it shows the one that just failed. I don't see it. Oh, Office validation tool right here. Failed to install. That's actually good because the license on my Office product I think is expired. So validating the product will probably make me not be able to use it. But I could be wrong. Here we can uninstall updates. So if I have potentially installed something and then I have a problem with the particular software that the update was related to, I can go back in here and remove the update. So we can see that the updates that it did get were all most recently for Microsoft Office. Yeah, so that's how we would uninstall an update. And what you basically do is just click on it once it's highlighted, and then we can uninstall an update. So go back and close that window. Go back to our Windows Update screen. Now let's take a look at some of the advanced options for Windows Update. So these are just toggle switches, and this particular one is on. It will allow the device to receive updates for other Microsoft products, such as like Skype or other Windows related updates. So here's another one here. It says download updates over metered connections, and this is set to off by default. So we're going to leave it off here today. There's another option here. It says restart this device as soon as possible when a restart is required. So this is off because if it's on, we could be interrupted by a restart unexpectedly, and you could potentially lose work that you're working on. So I would leave this off. And so this next option below is update notifications, and this is to show a notification when your PC requires a restart to finish updating. It's off right now, And sometimes you also see it here in the start menu. So if we go to start and then power, you can, sometimes these will change and it will say update and shut down or update and restart. So that would be manually allowing the update to finish. If you're not sure what the update is, you'll see it here. So let's go back to the Windows Update screen. So whatever update is pending here will be the one that gets installed on restart. Okay, let's take a look at other types of updates for the system. So sometimes we hear about having to update a driver for like a monitor or something. Let's take a look at how to do that. So from the Windows search, I'm going to type in this PC. And when I see it pop up here in the results, I'm just going to right click and select manage. This usually takes a second or two to pop up. Sometimes longer with other computers than others. So that takes us here to the computer management screen. And what we want is the device manager. So in the left column, I'm going to click once on the device manager. I'm just going to maximize this page. So these are all the devices on the computer. And for instance, if I want to update the firmware or driver for my monitor, let's take a look at how to do that. So the monitor is a would be related to the display adapter. Okay. So we're going to take a look at that first. So this is the display adapter that's fitted to the motherboard on this particular PC. I'm running an older HP EliteBook. So I'm going to select the display adapter, right click, and then I'm going to select the option that says update driver. Now because I have an internet connection, I can allow the computer to automatically search for a device driver, and that's the first thing I'm going to do. If I have, and I'm sure I do, I have the driver on my computer, I can browse the computer for drivers for that device. So sometimes there may be more than one on my computer, so if I'm having a problem, this would allow me to try different versions of that browser. But for now, I just want to let the system search and try and find the best driver for my device. And it's determined that the best driver for the device is already installed. So I'm going to close that. Now I want to move down here to where it says monitors. And I do have a generic monitor plugged in. So let's take a look at that and see if I can check the driver for this particular device. Okay, so that found that we have the best driver. Let's browse the computer and see if there's any. So this is how we browse for the computer for other drivers. And I'm going to leave this. So it says search for drivers in this location. So see users, this is the user documents. So basically it's going to look at my user profile. But instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is select this bottom option where it's going to let me pick from a list of available drivers. So it's basically searching the device and finding any driver that's related specifically to the monitor, and it only shows this particular one, so there's really not much we can do there. It's pretty clear that we're using the best driver for this device, and I can reinstall it just like that. So if I needed to reinstall the driver, that's basically what you would do right there, and that reinstalls it. So if that would fix anything that's wrong with it. So that's basically how you would update drivers for particular like pieces of hardware on your computer. Let's take a look at the keyboard driver. So what I want to do is click this little arrow to expand it, the tree, And here's the keyboard. So let's select that and we'll check to see if we have the best driver. Looks like we do. Let's try this one as well. So it's pretty easy. You can go through these and check them. Sometimes you'll find that the computer will actually find something better than what you have installed. And you can go ahead and just run the update. It's really not a big deal at all. So I'm going to close out of this, because the other thing we're going to look at today is how to update things like your browser, or like programs like Edge and Chrome. So let's open up Chrome. We'll take a look at how to update Chrome. So my Chrome browser is set to open to google.com, and I want to see if my browser is up to date. So I'm going to go up to the top right hand corner, select the three dots. I'm going to go down to Help, and then I'm going to select About Google Chrome. And it automatically does the check. So this is up to date. So let's close this. Let's take a look at Microsoft Edge. So here is Microsoft Edge. I believe this updates through Windows Update, because it is a Microsoft software. But I'm curious if we can find an update feature here through the settings menu like we did in Chrome. So let's just look at the help menu like we did with Chrome, and then go to About. It's usually the About portion, and yep, it does the exact same thing that Google Chrome does. So we went to Settings, Help, and About, and that automatically checked for updates. So we know that Microsoft Edge is also up to date. Alright, now we're going to take a quick look at the Windows Security, or Windows Defender. Let's see if we can make that check for updates. So in the taskbar, I'm going to click on the little arrow and open up the tray. And I'm going to right click on the shield, and there is an option here to check for protection updates. So I'm going to select that, and it looks like Windows Security is going to open up, and it will actively check for updates. So this is what's known as your virus definitions. Windows update, or Microsoft in general, will push new updates. I think it's the second Tuesday of every month. They're mostly security based, so that's why your Windows system will seem to always want to update. So updates isn't something that goes away. It's something that needs to be done regularly. It's like maintenance, kind of like a way to keep your device running properly. Today we're going to take a look at installing printer drivers. So first thing I'm going to do is open up a Google Chrome browser. Now I've already set my printer up on the Wi-Fi network. So my computer is also on Wi-Fi, and both the computer and the printer are on the same Wi-Fi network. Let's take a look at my Wi-Fi network. So in the taskbar, I'm just going to click on the Wi-Fi button, and this is the name of my Wi-Fi network, and I know that the printer is on the same one, and I'm going to see if my printer is ready. So the way I want to do that is I'm going to use this search bar down below here on the taskbar, and I'm going to start typing in printers, and as soon as I see printers and scanners, I'm going to select that. There's also another way that we can do this, which may look more familiar to people. So if I type in control panel, and I think this is kind of going away with newer versions of Windows, but for now let's just take a look at the control panel. So the printer would be a piece of hardware So I want to look at, I want to view devices and printers. To be honest, I like this look of layout. I think it is easier to use. So the printer that we're going to look at here is the Brother printer. It should be available and set as my default. It's not, but so what I'm going to do is select it as the default printer. So the way I do that is I'm just going to click on it once and then right click. I'm going to set as default printer. So say OK. And all that means is that if I just hit the print button, that it is going to send that print job to the Brother printer automatically, unless I select another printer here. Let's try and print a test page. So to do that, we can right click on the device itself, and we'll look at the printer properties, and from here we can just select the button that says print test page. So a test page has been sent. And in this case, the test page is coming out. If I double click on the device itself, I can see what's printing. It looks like it's already gone. And it did print out a test page already, so I know my printer is working, but for instance, if my printer wasn't working and I needed to find the driver for this device, and I had lost the CD for it, the best way to find the software for the printer is to just pull up a search window. I'm going to use Google search, and I'm going to type in Brother printer. And just hit enter. I'm going to look for the official Brother website. And this looks like it right here, Brother USA. So let's select Brother USA. Now whenever you're looking for software or printer drivers, that's usually located under the tab called support, or it could say downloads, but usually if you go to support, you'll find a category called software and driver downloads. So when we select that, it should ask us what device that we're looking for. So if I scroll down, it gives me this little window here. It lets me find drivers for my particular model. So my particular model here is a MFC J430W. So J430W. There it is. So let that search. This is definitely the device right here. So I'm going to click right on the link for my device. And there is the printer. I can select the driver for whichever version of Windows I have. If you're not sure what version of Windows you have, a quick way to check that is through the search bar here. Windows 10 or 8, we can just type in this PC and hit enter. Oops, I'm sorry, that's not what we wanted to do. So again, this PC, then right click on it and select the properties, and that will tell you the version of Windows you're on. So this is Windows 10 Pro. You may have Windows 10 Home or Windows 10 Basic or Windows 8 8.1. There's all different ones here, 32-bit, 64-bit. So if you're not sure about the bit, same thing, just type in this PC right click, select properties, and it will tell you how many bits your processor is. Okay, so currently I'm on a 64-bit Windows 10 Pro. Okay, it sees that already without me having to select the version. But if you were downloading this for another device, or say you were having trouble, maybe you think you have the 32-bit one and you need the 64-bit one, this will be a way to make that change. So I can just hit OK here. It's going to download. It's going to give me options here to download. So this is the full suite. Know what I mean by that is it has like all the software for the printer. Down below there's one here that is for printer and scanner, local connection. This download only includes the printer and scanner. Yeah. So in this instance you would want the full driver. So we're just going to select under the title. I'm going to click right on those words. I'm going to scroll down. We have to accept the agreement in order to get and use the software. And when I accept the agreement, it automatically downloads, and you can see it pop up right here. So this is just downloading. It's not actually installing the software. I'll show you how to do that once this finishes up. There's a couple of different ways to get at that software once it finishes. I can select this little arrow right here and just let it open when done, or I can let it show in the folder that it's actually downloaded to. But in this instance I'm going to pretend like I don't know where the download went. Okay. So let's find it. And the way to do that is to select the File Explorer. And because we downloaded the software, we're going to actually look in the downloads location. So from the Quick Access menu here in the File Explorer, I'm going to select Downloads. And it's going to show me based on date modified my most recent download at the top. So I did download software for a multi-function printer, so that's it right there, the MFC J430W. Okay, I can see it is an application, and what I want to do is run the software. I find the best way to do this is instead of just double clicking, if you just select it once like that with a left click and then right click on it, I like to run it as the administrator, just in case for some reason you're not logged in as the administrator. Whenever you install a program, the installer will need administrative privileges, so it only makes sense to run it that way, and that's why I will install the software that way by clicking Run as Admin. And so what's happening here is the Microsoft Windows 10 here is recognizing that the software that I'm trying to install didn't come from the Microsoft store. It's not like a Microsoft verified app, but I know that I need this for my brother printer, so I'm going to select Install Anyway. Now you may not even get that pop-up, but if you do, you want to select Install Anyway. Okay, and then the next thing that happens is it tries to run the software. So this pop-up isn't something that you want to be worried about. The software has to actually run or install, so those are the changes that it's making. It's not going to actually do anything to your computer. So we select yes, and that will allow the installer to run as admin. So it's going to unzip and decompress all the information, and we can see where it's going. It's going to the hard drive, C users, that's the username, the downloads, yeah, that's where it's unzipping it to. So we're going to select the language. So if you had a problem with the software on your device, your printer, and you wanted to reinstall the driver, this would be the way to do that. And what this is doing is exactly that. It's reinstalling the printer driver. And what it does here is it runs what's called the wizard. So if there are a problem with your driver, this is going to clean it up. Well, not clean it up, but it'll leave you with a fresh install of the printer driver. You also will be getting the most current software for your device. For instance, if you had a CD that came with your printer, there's a good chance that that's an older version of the printer driver at this point. So some antivirus software will block the install, and that's what this pop-up here is showing. It's saying that there's a good chance that the firewall might block the installation of the software. Now, I'm not running anything fancy here for antivirus. I'm using Windows Security. But I'm going to leave this set to the default because this is what the installation wizard wants. And I'm just going to select next. Now this is different pieces of the software that I can install. So I know if I'm just having trouble with like the scanner, then I can literally just uncheck everything and leave this network scanner driver selected and just run that and get like a, make sure that that's up to date. But today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run them all. I'm going to leave it set as the default and click next. Okay, so this is happening because I know I put my printer on the Wi-Fi network, so that's why it's seeing it and popping up like this. If I had a couple of printers, a couple of brother printers, it will see them both as long as they were connected to the Wi-Fi network. So I'm going to select the printer because this is the machine that we're going to use, and select next. We'll just let that run for a few minutes. Okay, so we're just about done. So nowadays they don't really give you a manual for your device, but you can view the manual on the web. And this is the link that lets you get there. So if we click on this button, it would open up to your browser. Take you right back to the support page. And this PDF documents here that you can download will give you a little further setup information, some advanced user settings. Let's jump back to the installation here. Select next to let this finish. So here's also where you can register your device. I'm going to leave this checked because I do want this printer set as my default, and all that means is that when I go to print, I'm not going to let this restart my computer right now. Then we're going to finish. So before I can reuse this, we have to restart the computer. But what I want you to see is the default printer means that when I select print, that it's going to automatically select my default printer. But it's not going to do that until I reboot. But there, so there's the brother printer. So what that means is without me selecting a device, it's going to automatically select the brother device. So that would be the default printer in this instance. So that's basically a quick way to reinstall your printer driver. What we did was we Google searched the manufacturer. So in this case it was a brother printer. We went to the support tab and found software and downloads. We typed in our model number, pulled up the device on their website, and we downloaded the full suite of software or printer driver for that particular model. And then we went into the downloads location and we ran the software. So hopefully that helps you if you need to reinstall a printer driver or just had some basic questions on setting up your printer at home.